What up, Poppin T fam? It's your host, Poppin T. Sitting there as usual, Poppin T. Got my water in the Gatorade today. Gotta stay hydrated. Pop, we got a lot to talk about today, man.
A lot
to talk about. A lot is going on in Baltimore right now. Trade deadline was today. Made some moves. About halfway through the season, Ravens are sitting at 6-3, behind the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North. And since it's halfway through the season, we figured out we'd give out some awards today.
Before we do that, you want to touch on our T for the day?
You're right. Our T for the day, the Ravens traded for Rams cornerback Tre'Davious White.
And
Deontay Johnson. Yes. We really didn't give up anything to get these guys. I think we traded a 6th for Deontay. Traded a 7th for Tre'Davious.
Both pick swaps.
Yeah, both pick swaps. I'm not ecstatic about it, but I'm happy about it. I'm glad we made some moves. I think there was one position we really needed that we didn't get, which was an edge rusher. I would have loved to get Aziz from New York, because they're kind of thinking about moving on from him, because he's an unrestricted free agent this offseason. But, we ride with who we got, and, we'll go make a run come January, hopefully. Pop, what are your thoughts on the two acquisitions?
Obviously, I love what Deontay brings to the offense. I think that they took a look at what Bateman did in the Browns game and decided they need a little bit better at that position. I think Deontay, once he really gets acclimated with the offense, will probably settle in as wide receiver 2 behind Zay, above Rashad. And he's just another one of those separator types, one of the best route runners in the league. Gotta love what he adds, because these dudes are flying around, getting open, giving easy looks to Lamar, especially on those play action passes. So just adding another one of those dudes is just awesome. And I was worried because of we don't have many big wide receivers in this offense, but I think that role is kind of taken over by the tight ends, that three-headed monster in the tight end room. And then for Trey White, obviously I'm not expecting too much, but at one point he was a Pro Bowl, all-pro level corner for the Bills, and we've gotten a washed cornerback from the Rams before, and it worked out pretty well for us. So maybe we can get that little spark again out of Trey White, but I'm not expecting anything huge, but just some added depth. Keep 10 off the field. Can't hate it.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it opens up the defense a little bit. Maybe it allows B. Steve to go back to safety, like he used to play it, and maybe we roll with Wiggins, Marlowe, Tre'Davious, and Marlette. And because Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson haven't been playing up to expectations, so maybe even put Trey White back deep at safety, and we just move some things around. But I think it gives us some good flexibility. He has been a healthy scratch these last couple weeks for the Rams, just because he hasn't been playing too well. And honestly, the Rams were going to cut him today. That's why the Ravens went and traded that 7, just to make sure they got him before he got to waivers. But like you said, going back to Deontay, I really would have loved to get a big body, but like you said, that's for the tight ends. But I really do want that threat outside at the wide receiver that can just put his head down and run and go up and get those contested balls, which seems like, Ravens wide receivers have struggled to do over the years, to go win those 50-50 balls.
Yeah. Now, would you say you would prefer like Mike Williams that the Steelers just got, or are you happier with Deontay?
I don't know, honestly. I think I would have rather had Mike Williams, to be honest. Just to allow him to play outside, keep Zay in the slot, Bateman in the slot, Nelly in the slot. But Deontay is one of those utility pieces where he is kind of similar to Zay, and you can kind of line him up anywhere. But the speed on that field is going to kill. Obviously, I'm not upset about it, but I just would have preferred a big body.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you were talking about an award show. This is kind of what we hyped up the episode to begin with. This we're midway through the season. We wanted to give out some awards for some players on the team. We have 7 awards that we wanted to give out to our favorite Ravens. So you want to just get right into it?
All right, let's get right into it. Obviously, the most important award is the MVP. Poppy, I'll let you start us off. Your MVP so far of the year.
How can it be anyone else than Lamar Jackson right now? Lamar is playing better than he did last year, and Lamar won the MVP last year. So that should tell you just how good he's playing right now. Highest passer rating in the league. He's third in passing yards in the league. Over 500 yards on the ground. 22 total touchdowns. 2 picks. This dude is playing lights out right now. It's his combination of how athletic he looks right now. I think him shedding a little bit of weight since last season has made him look even better. And his pocket presence, man, like the way he's able to navigate with his eyes downfield within the pocket, it's to me the best in the league. Like he doesn't go down. Like the Broncos had 1 sack on the day. And it's just amazing to watch, man. Like he's just so poised and locked in right now. And he's not sailing balls right now. He's hitting accurate throws. I mean, he hardly has any incompletions at every single game. It's insane.
Yeah, Lamar's been playing out of his mind. I just love to see the confidence and the poise from Lamar in the pocket. Mm-hmm. How quickly
that's the thing.
Yeah, how quickly he's getting through his reads, man. He's not forcing anything. He's taking what the defense gives him. He's making adjustments at the line. And he truly just looks like an NFL vet. Like he looks like he's been in the league for 7 years. It looks like he understands what defenses like to throw at him, what guys try to take away from the Ravens offense. And he says it damn near every week after a game. It's a pick your poison offense. And he's the start of that. Sky's the limit is for this guy, man. Every year he's just continued to prove people wrong. He's continued to improve his arm. And it's hard not to pick him for your MVP. But obviously, we both can't be picking the same guys for everything. So I'm going to give my love to the big boys. I'm going to give my love to the O-line. This is a group we had a lot of question marks about coming into the season. What would be the group? What would be the 5? Would we rotate? We were rotating at a point with Macari and Rosengarten, but it seems like we have picked our 5, and we've been rolling with that 5. Patrick Macari was actually the highest rated guard in PFF this week. He made the PFF, like all 22 team they do against all the teams. And that O-line has kept Lamar pretty clean all season. They only have 13 sacks on the year, which seems like a lot, man. But, when you're playing against these top defenses, you're playing against these elite edge rushers, you're playing in the AFC North, you got to play everybody in the AFC North twice a year. The group has really held its own, and obviously it helps a lot because Lamar's Lamar. It's hard to sack Lamar. But even besides the pass game, Derrick Henry has over 1,000 rushing yards. Derrick Henry isn't out there playing by himself, obviously. There are 5 guys out there blocking for him. There's 10 guys out there blocking for him because even Lamar goes out there and blocks. But the O-line, man, has just been a lot better than I think we expected them to be. So that's 100% go ahead.
To put it into context, I know it's a different running back, but that unit that we shattered the rushing yards record with in 19, that line featured Ronnie Stanley, Marshall Yonda, Orlando Brown,
Matt Skura, and I believe Ben Powers was playing left guard.
Like that's a way better unit on paper than this highly scrutinized unit going into the year. So shout out these guys, man. They're getting it done.
Yeah, 100%.
Even Falalele,
That's what I was about to
Looks
say,
better
man. He
every
looks like
week.
he's getting better every week. He just looks so much more comfortable playing at guard.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's not a tackle for us. I'm glad they moved him inside because he's a mauler. And I personally I like my tackles to be a little more athletic, like Stanley and Rosengarten. I think Falele was one of those guys that needed to put his hand in the dirt, and I think it's paid off a lot.
No doubt. Shall we move on to the next award?
Yes, sir. Let's get that Offensive Player of the Year.
For me, it's King Henry. I think we all had expectations about what King Henry could be in this offense, but he shattered it, man. Like, he looked good in Tennessee, but like, even the aesthetic in the purple and the black,
Something different,
he's
isn't
just
it?
menacing. He's menacing, and like, no one can stop him right now. He looks like he's 21 years old.
Yeah.
Playing in this offense right now. Like, looks like he's in his prime. He's going for 100 yards every single game. And it's opening up things for the passing game more than I've ever seen it. Like, play action passes are easy money in this offense right now. It's astounding. And I don't know, this is one of my favorite Ravens ever through 9 games. Like, it's so fun to watch him play.
This is one of those,
especially when he's not terrorizing us.
Yeah, this is one of those players that like spent his entire career in Tennessee, but I promise you that kid is going to come retire as a Raven. Like, he's going to be in the city. He's going to do outreach. Like, I don't really see him. Obviously, he has people down in Texas, but like, he's going to be in Baltimore. He's going to be a cornerstone in Baltimore for a long time. Even if he's only here 2-3 years, just because of how much he's given to this offense, and I think kind of that there's something about him being 30, where it's just like, I got more in the tank. Like, I think that kind of speaks for Baltimore as a city, where it's like, you count me out, I'm down and out, but nah, I still got it. At 30 years old, I'm still running through MF's face. I'm still, my stiff arm is still there. You can tell he really enjoys playing with Lamar Jackson. Like, every time they do a press conference together, they damn near kissing, like hugging on each other. Like, he's so happy to be playing. It's the same thing with D-Hop in Kansas City. He's so happy to be playing competitive football again. You know, and not just fighting to fight. Like, he's fighting these games and they're meaningful. He has the potential to go to win the Super Bowl, and he knows that. That's why he came to Baltimore, because, you know, what he saw us do last year. He knows that that opportunity is ahead of him. As long as they keep moving like this. And I'm going to get to my Offensive Player of the Year in a second, but Lamar Jackson's shotgun rates has dropped like 20% this offseason. Or not this offseason, this season. Because what putting him under center does to defenses. Putting him under center, Ricard at fullback and Derrick Henry at running back, you have to play the run first. And then, like you said, the play action game then comes into effect. You fake it to D. Henry, you drop back. The linebackers are almost at the line of scrimmage by the time Lamar is getting out of his drop, and now the middle of the field is wide open. Like how Lamar put that beautiful ball over across the middle of the field to Zay Flowers, because guys are so worried about the run. And I'll take that into my Offensive Player of the Year. I gotta go Zay. Derrick Henry's been playing out of his mind.
That dude.
Don't get me wrong, but boy, oh boy, Zay made me want to shed a tear. Like,
yeah, it's so awesome.
We have a number 1 wide receiver, Pop. I can say that confidently. I couldn't tell you the last time I could say that confidently is that we had a number 1 wide receiver. Like,
he's a dog.
This
bro.
dude
he's a dog.
Is on pace for 1,200 receiving yards. A Baltimore wide receiver is on pace for 1,200 receiving yards.
It's special stuff, man, and he looks the part. He's not just getting force fed like into those yards, because he's earning them.
It's frustrating to me also, though. I will say that it's been like 3 weeks of him having 100 yards at halftime, and then finishing with like 12 more yards.
Because We're up.
I know. I understand. Like, I know how football works, dude. But, like, I want him to get 200.
Yeah.
Like, just once. He had 9 receptions for 133 yards at halftime against the Commanders, and then just didn't touch rock again. Like,
But there's going to be a shootout this season.
oh, 100%. There's going to be a lot of those. Yeah. But our offense is built to last. But, like, besides that Tampa Bay game, man, these last, 6 games from Zay have been phenomenal. Against the Bengals, 7 receptions for 111 yards. Washington, 9 for 132. Cleveland, 7 for 115. And then Denver, 5 for 127. He's a top 5 in receiving yards right now, man, which is something
insane
that, like, has never happened for a Baltimore wide receiver this far into the season.
That's insane.
He is top 5. Not top 20, 15, whatever. He's top 5. So shout out to Zay Flowers, man. I just love watching him play every week. He's another one like D. Henry, where, like, he just... It's so funny to me, like, watching grown NFL players fanboy about a teammate. Like how fans do. Like, yo, they love Lamar Jackson to death in that locker room. And it just seems like Zay loves playing with Lamar. They have that Florida connection. And it seems like anytime he gets to go to work and play with Lamar, he's a happy guy.
Yeah, no doubt about that. On to our defensive player of the year. I think we both have the same player here.
I don't think you could pick anybody else.
How could it be anyone else besides Kyle Hamilton?
Playing like a madman.
I am truly overjoyed when I get to watch Kyle Hamilton play football. Like, he just is around the ball. Always. Around the ball. Like, they were talking about it during the Broncos game. Like, you can't... Or Sean Payton was like, don't throw the screen to Kyle's side. No. Because he's going to mess it up.
It's a waste of a play.
Do not throw it to Kyle's side. Because if you throw it to the line of scrimmage and he's playing in the box, he will explode to the ball and he will make the tackle every single time. Like, there's a check down in this game where, like, they check it down at the running back. He has time to put a move on Kyle. But Kyle is just exploding in there, taking out his legs.
Pause.
Tackle for loss. Yeah.
Exploding in there. Exploding in there. Come on, Pop. Come on, Pop.
All right. It's funny because, like, it makes me think of Ed just because he's just another, like, dominant safety. Probably the first, like, real dominant safety since Ed. But they couldn't be more different of safeties, like, just in the way that they play. But having this player just, it's special, like, what he's able to do.
Kyle Hamilton is one of those great examples that 40 speed isn't football speed. 40 speed is straight line speed. That's all it is. It's nothing about pursuit, angles, anything like that. The fact that Kyle Hamilton fell to our lap at 14 because of a 4.7 40 was one of the greatest things that happened to this franchise.
Yes.
Because so many teams passed up on a great safety. And it was one of those dudes at Notre Dame that we knew once he got to the league, he was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And teams are too worried about, guys running in a straight line in a thong and booty shorts. And pass on a generational player. He's a safety on pace for 127 tackles. 91 solo tackles as a safety.
That's insane.
Normally, that's not what you want to see out of your safety, because if your safety is making all of those tackles, that means the ball is getting past the second level. But that's not the case in Baltimore because Kyle plays everywhere. He plays linebacker, he plays slot corner, he plays outside, he's lined up at DN, he plays high safety, low safety. And like you said earlier, man, like running...
Plays pass rusher.
Yeah, like he plays anywhere. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a jack of all trades. And truly running screens against him is a wasted play. Like, I've never seen a screen be ran to Kyle Hamilton's side that was successful. Like, it's just I've never seen it. Like, he's so explosive to the ball. He reacts so quickly. He
So
must.
long.
Jeez, dude.
It's
Jeez,
true.
dude.
He's tall.
There you go.
He's got a lot of length to him.
Wow, a lot of girth. Freak. But back to football, before Poppy turned this into something else. Kyle Hamilton is a demon, man. He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know who he reminds me of.
Palamalu.
Who?
A little bit. Palamalu.
I thought you said like aluminum foil or something, bro. Like, I didn't hear what you said at all. I heard Alamalu. I'm like, who is Alamalu? But yeah, he does kind of remind me of Choi. Just being everywhere, making you fear the middle of the field, and just being so quick and reacting so fast to the football. Troy was one of a kind when it came to getting out of his break and getting downhill. And I think Kyle shows a lot of similarities to that.
I was just thinking, like, before we move on to our next award, like, Kyle, if things go the right way, one of these seasons he could realistically walk his way into a Defensive Player of the Year award. Like, not our version, but, like, comes out of it with, like, 4 or 5 sacks, like 3 or 4 picks, a couple forced fumbles, all those tackles for loss. Like, he's essentially a middle linebacker, and like, because he moves around so much, I feel like he has more potential to rack up those stats, which are so important for those awards. Whereas, like, I don't know. I guess it's easy to accumulate those stats as like a Fred Warner as well, but I don't know. Like, he's making a strong case. I don't know if it'll be this season, but.
I think last year was his best case, because I think to win Defensive Player of the Year as a safety, you truly have to have a great defense around you. Because if you're going to win Defensive Player of the Year, like you said, you have to have those stats, which means you have to play everywhere, which means everybody else around you is doing their job, because that allows you to play everywhere else. Like, I don't have to play high safety all game, because I know I can come into the box and Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson or Darius Washington so-and-so will hold it down for me while I'm down there. Because obviously as he moves from position to position, you want to begin to attack where he's not at. You know what I'm saying? So I think last year he had a great defense around him that allowed him to become that Swiss Army knife, and he was in those talks at a certain point in the year, especially after the 49ers game. I think he put a lot of people onto his name, like Kyle Hamilton is here. But yeah, if that defense improves, I think 100% he can walk away with a Defensive Player of the Year award at some point in his career in Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, on to our next award, Comeback Player of the Year. Someone, not necessarily who got injured, but someone who's just really turned around their play. And for me, that guy is Ronnie Stanley. This is a dude that a lot of people wanted out of Baltimore. Bigger contract for a tackle. And he just has sucked. Like, to put it realistically, like, he has sucked the last couple of years. He's been injured or he's sucked. And this dude is right back to that 2019 All-Pro lockdown left tackle. Like, pass pro, run blocking. This dude is the best player on the offensive line, and he's getting paid like it, and I couldn't be more happy that our outstanding left tackle is back to full form.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do with him.
I don't know either. Like you said, I love the resurgence from Stanley, and I'll kind of take that into bridge my comeback player of the year, because these are both two guys this offseason going into the season where a lot of Ravens players were kind of ready to move on because of salary cap hit, things like that. My comeback player of the year is Marlon Humphrey. Him and Stanley have both been cornerstones of this team for a long time. And to see them both kind of get back into the rhythm within the same year is great to see. Marlon Humphrey is rated at 80 right now, 80.4 PFF grade, which is 9th out of 205 corners. And his coverage grade is 83.2, which is 5th out of 205 corners. He's topping the league in interceptions with 4 right now. And he has 28 solo tackles. And, man, he's just been looking confident again. He's been looking like that leader on the defense that we've needed. And he's just made plays. So just seeing him and Stanley, like, get back in the rhythm at the same time, it's like, yo, like, we got to go get it done. Like, when you have so many of your older players, your leaders, your mentors clicking at the same time, you have a Marlon, a Stanley, Lamar, D. Henry, a couple other guys, Roquan. Like, when you have all these vets clicking at the same time, it's like, yo, you got to get it done, because you never know if they'll look like this again. Because you never, it's football. Like, your body ages, your aches and pains, you'll never feel the same. So it's like, when you got these guys playing like this, man, it's like, you got to go get it done.
Yeah, no doubt. On to our next award, Breakout Player of the Year. For me, that's Travis Jones. Travis Jones was someone we knew probably got drafted a little later than they should have in that class. And he has just exploded onto the scene. It's been limited reps, but every time he's out there, I feel like we talk about him every single week because he just makes his presence felt, like, so explosive in pass rushing. I feel like he's just moving people. And he's been a rock in run block, or in run defense too. So just having two just explosive defensive tackles, like, it's hard to deal with. Like, obviously, Michael Pierce is great in what he does, two-gapping and stopping the run, but, like, Nnamdi and Travis are a violent duo. Violent defensive tackle duo. And to have two of those guys is great. Like, love that.
It is. My breakout player is also on the defensive side. I gotta give it to Odafe Owe. I know he's been quiet these last couple of weeks, but he has improved in all aspects of his game, I believe. In pass rush, run defense. I think he's playing with a higher motor this year. I believe he's playing like he has something to prove. He's currently sitting at 4.5 sacks on the season. His career high is 5. So one more sack, he's over his career high already, and it'll be week 10 this upcoming week. 7 weeks of football left to play. I think he can go out and show out. His PFF grade is at a 72.6 right now, but obviously to your regular fan, it doesn't sound too good, but he's actually playing at a very high level. I wanted to give it to Tavius Robinson, but I need a couple more weeks of production because he has been started to step on the scene. And Tavius, we've been seeing you, dog. We see you out there grinding. But yeah, I went with Odafe.
He's going to talk about him later.
Yeah. I hope Odafe can keep developing into an elite pass rusher. I would love for us to have a homegrown talent like Terrell Suggs on our D-line, like how we had Nada and Suggs. I would love to have a Madubuike and a Owe as cornerstones with Roquan in the middle, your Ray Lewis, and then your Ed Reed, Kyle Hamilton back deep. Your Marlon Humphrey, your Ladarius Webb, your Jimmy Smith, whatever you want to compare that to. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for this young defense. And I think we got to understand how young our defense is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And a young DC, like, there are going to be some bumps and bruises that are going to come along the way. But if this group stays confident or stays confident in themselves, it might take some time, but this defense will get to clicking. I promise.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Too much talent.
Too much talent.
Let's finish up these awards. We have two more. Most disappointing this year. Not the best award to receive. I thought about our boy Jay Tuck, but I can't give him that award.
Why
I'm gonna
can't
go
you?
Marcus Williams.
All right, that's also fair enough.
I respect him too much. I don't know, man. Marcus looked really good early in his Ravens career, and then he gets that injury, and ever since then he has been. Well, he got mossed by a QB this week, so that should tell you all you need to know about Marcus Williams.
How you get bagged by Bo Nix? Like, it'd be different if, like, Cam Newton went up there and head tapped you with, like, 6'5", 240-pound quarterback, but, like, Bo Nix, dog. That hurt. That hurt. Like,
The first play of the game, he like explodes through there, like blows up a run play. I'm like, okay, Marcus, let's go. Then I gotta watch the replay over and over again all this week. Bo Nix, Philly special, and Marcus is.
I saw Bo Nix, like, toss the ball up to the running back and escape out right, and I was just like, Jesus, I know what's coming. Like, I was like, this is Philly special, like, 100% of the way. Like, quarterbacks don't ever toss it and try to fake jog out. Like, I knew what was coming. And it seemed like Marcus knew what was coming, too, after it took him a little second to digest it, but I guess Bo Nix is the better athlete.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is, and I just got to accept that.
Yep.
But yeah, I have been disappointed in Marcus so far this year. Him and Eddie Jackson, I feel like, have both been liabilities out there on that defense. I don't know, man. It's just like when you're paying a guy 16, 17 mil a year, you just expect more.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of ready to move on this offseason. Trade, cut, whatever it is, salary reduction. But I don't want to keep paying him that same amount we're paying him.
Yeah.
So for my most disappointing player of the year, it's less of one guy, but two. Maybe I'll even just call it a position group. It pains me to say this, it really does, but the tight ends. I expect a little more out of this group. Don't get me wrong, Mandrews has started to put it together, as of late, has started to get back into his groove. But he only has 289 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, and likely has 271 and 3 touchdowns, but he had like 100 in week 1 versus Kansas City. Like, after that week 1 game, like, I expected this to be likely season. I expected Mandrews to kind of take that second role, take that step back. But honestly, like, after week 1, and then Mandrews had 2 against Cleveland, was it?
Mm-hmm.
They just, I don't know, they feel like they haven't been out there damn near. I really expected more from this group. As Ravens fans, we're so highly on this group. We feel like we have the best tight end duo in the league, and I still feel that way. But I just haven't seen the production out of those two this year. And I was really hoping for a little more, especially, with us not having too many wide receiver options. I expected to see Likely and Mandrews out there together a lot. I expect to see Mandrews in the slot, Likely at the Y, at the tight end position, Flowers, Bateman. I just expected to see a lot of combinations of the skill guys and position players we have. But it just seems like they've been more out there for blocking threats. And I'm still hoping they can get it together, get this season going. But Mark Andrews will probably finish at an all-time low, or at least since his rookie year in receiving yards, which is just kind of disappointing. He He had 2 targets, 2 receptions for 26 yards last week. Like, that's not the Mark Andrews I know and love.
Yeah.
Especially when you're beating a team 41-10 at the end of the game. And he just had 0 catches against Dallas and Buffalo. Like, that's not Mark Andrews. I don't know who that is, but I'm hoping he can start to string it together as we go down the stretch.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed, but that's Lamar's dude. So it has got me wondering what's going on there.
Yeah. Underrated.
Let's touch on our underrated. My underrated player is none other than Fat Pat Ricard.
Yes, sir.
What he does for this offense is, like, crucial. His impact blocking, the way he's able to just erase someone, whether it's a linebacker, a DB, safety, defensive end, you name it, like, he just erases them every play. Especially when you get him out on the move on some of those sweep toss plays, like to the left side, Ronnie and him, Derek can just run up the middle. Like, we have the best blocking fullback in the league, and we use him, and it's crucial to the way that Derek can go have so many of his yards come untouched to begin with. Like, obviously he's great after contact. We all know that. But here versus Tennessee, he's getting touched way later in the play. And I think that's due in large part to Pat Ricard.
100%. Fat Pat, I love that guy. I actually got to meet him after the Cardinals game in 2019. He was a great dude. Sat there and talked with me for a while, and I always remember that experience going down the road. But I think Ricard will go down as one of the better fullbacks of all time. I truly believe he is a Swiss Army knife. Like how we talk about Kyle Hamilton's a Swiss Army knife for the defense, Pat Ricard is that for the offense. And just a very unselfish dude. Will go out there and do anything for you. Play O-line, play tight end, play fullback. Will go line up in the slot if you need to. You might be out there looking like that Drewski construction video, but he'll go do it. Like, it don't matter. He'll go find a way. And I love Fat Pat to death. I hope he never leaves Baltimore like Kyle Juszczyk, because I was very high on Juszczyk too, but we found Ricard, and I'm very happy with that. All right, for my underrated player, man, I got to go with Big 2-3, Big Trenton Simpson. People were very worried after we lost Patrick Queen this offseason. But I think Trenton Simpson has stepped into that role very well. Right now, he has 28 solo tackles, 51 total, and is on pace for 96, which is 4 off from 100. So to be in what I'm calling your rookie season, and to be on pace for almost 100 tackles, man, is great. He flies around the ball, man. He brings energy, and he's been one of those guys that, out of college, you know, after watching kind of what happened with Isaiah Simmons, they kind of were in similar roles at Clemson, both Swiss Army knives, and to see both fast linebackers, and to see Isaiah Simmons not work out, I was kind of worried about Trent. But then I remember he's in Baltimore. He's in LBU, and he has played well. His PFF grade right now is at a 69.9, which is 39th out of linebackers. And Patrick Queen is at a 50.9. It is 126 out of 157 linebackers. So I think we 100% made the right decision on not signing Queen, signing Matabike, and allowing Trenton Simpson to step into this role. I'm very excited for what he can do in Baltimore. I think he'll have a long career here, hopefully, as Roquan eventually passes the sticks to him. But I've loved what I've seen from him this year. It doesn't feel like he's a young player out there. I don't see him making too many mistakes, making too many hiccups. He's been out there playing ball, man, and I'm very happy to see that. And I hope he can keep this up.
Yeah, I think that it's very encouraging that he is playing as well as he is. Because right now, I feel like Roquan's just doing all the thinking, and they're basically just telling him, like, use your athleticism, fly to the football. And that's what he's doing. Once he really starts to understand the defense, once the defense starts playing better, like, sky's the limit for this dude. Because he's 100%. A freak athlete, he's aggressive, and he's got a nose for the football. You can get him in the film room with Roquan and that defensive coaching staff. He's gonna be a menace.
He will. He will. But that wraps up our award show, man. Let us know if you disagree or agree with any of our picks. There's obviously a lot of guys we could have mentioned for these awards. J Tuck, you're not safe.
Yeah,
you're almost my disappointing player of the year. But we love you here in Baltimore, so we didn't do that today. But man, he is scaring me. That extra point that hit the field goal post pop. I was ready to tell him to hang up the cleats. I was ready to tell him not to retire, man. See Justin Tucker do that, man. That made me nervous.
Hurt.
But let's get into this game that just happened last Sunday. Had Denver come to the bank. Last time they came to the bank, Lamar got hurt. Tyler Huntley ended up playing. The score was like under 30 points total. Last Sunday, a completely different story. 41-10, complete dominance on both sides of the ball. Kept the Broncos offense out of the end zone. Stopped them from converting on fourth down multiple times. And Lamar Jackson just looked like Lamar Jackson. 16-19 passing, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. Perfect passer rating. Is tied for the most in NFL history. Got to it the quickest in, I think, 86 games, which is absolutely phenomenal from him. What did you see from 8 in this Ravens offense last week that made you think that, this can be the team to do it?
It's everything. Like, I don't think you can really point out one thing, but it's like, for one, I know we like to call out Monken when he calls a bad game, but Monken's kind of been on a tear with the play calling. I feel like he's pulling out the right plays at the right time, which creates such a flow for the offense. And then when you have the offensive line performing at this level, the run game performs at this level, it allows Lamar to just play so much freer. And I mentioned it in the award show, like, his pocket presence is top of the top in the league. That's what I think of when I think of Lamar Jackson. Like, obviously you think of the athleticism and the scramble ability, but like, his poise within the pocket is exceptional. Like, I don't know how he's able to sense the rush and evade people the way he does, but like, it's so surprising to me when he gets sacked, because he's just able to avoid everything. And when the rest of the offense, the play calling, everything's clicking, it allows him to be so accurate and so efficient on his passing attempts that he can have 16 completions on 19 attempts and have 260 yards and 3 touchdowns on 16 attempts. Like, he is able to just stand in the pocket confidently and just deliver strikes to these receivers that are getting open for the first time in his career. Like, so, I don't know. It's everything within this offense right now. That's why this is the team, because this offense is humming.
100%. Lamar Jackson, I hate comparing him to other quarterbacks, but the way he's been playing, man, like, he's been reminding me of Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes, I feel like, obviously this year is a little different with all the injuries at wide receiver, but like, I always thought Pat Mahomes had a great pocket presence. I always thought he was great at taking what defenses gave him, and I always thought he was good at making those plays after the plays break down. And I think that's one big thing I've seen from Lamar this year is those plays, making those plays after the plays break down. Getting out of the pocket, scrambling drill, telling his wide receiver to cut up field, and just launch it, let him have it. Kind of like what Mahomes did to us. What was that? 2019, I want to say maybe, where he kind of was rolling around the pocket late game, fourth quarter. We sent that zero blitz, and he hit Tyreek Hill over the middle to C.J. Mosley. And just seeing him, how comfortable he is back there, like you just said. 8 is looking like the best in the league.
He is the best in the league right now.
Like I don't really think it's a conversation. I think Burrow's been playing out of his mind. Allen's been playing out of his mind. Jared Goff has been playing out of his mind. But like, there's something about 8 that's just different. And obviously 22 takes a lot of stress off of 8. But like 8 is the motor of this offense. And it's like he has 2 picks, and it hurts because both of those picks were drops.
Yeah,
They're both drops. Like he should have a 20-0 touchdown interception ratio right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like it. I genuinely love being a Ravens fan because I get to sit and watch Lamar play every Sunday.
Yeah.
No matter what happens on defense, it's just like 8 can pull you out of that hole. As long as his wide receivers aren't dropping open balls, 8 will pull you out of that hole. And it's just like Justice Hill is looking great. Derrick Henry is looking great. Zay Flowers is looking great. Bateman has his here's and there's. But this offense is just so dynamic. And we scored 41 points. Yeah, without Keaton and without Deontay being involved in the game plan. I'm excited for this offense because it's like you can't really solo out one guy as a defensive coordinator. You can't solo out either the run or the pass because we can burn you either way. And it's like you see the games where we lose. I want to specifically talk about Cleveland, where you have Derrick Henry only getting 11 attempts in a game that was close the entire time. When we follow the formula of getting Derrick Henry 20-plus attempts, good things happen. Derrick Henry had 23 attempts for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Good things happen when Derrick Henry has the ball in his hand. Because you just wear out a defense. Like, that second touchdown he had to the left side on that kind of, like, tall stretch play, you could see the guys, they didn't want to tackle him, bro. One of the DBs made, like, a pitiful dive at his ankle. And the other 2 just kind of like, and just let him run into the end zone.
And this was after the first couple plays were stuffed from him. First couple runs of the game, up the gut, stuffed. But it's like, all right, go ahead. Make it a couple plays early. Still going to end up with 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on you.
And it's crazy to me, like, watching that, not every week, but it's happened a couple times where, like, teams have absolutely shut Derrick Henry down in the first quarter. But as the game wears on, the guys get tired. Derrick Henry just doesn't seem to get tired. He might be a Terminator or something like that. Like, he just may not be real.
Yeah.
Because his poise in those late game situations is just, it's unfathomable. Like, it's just, I just can't believe he still is a Raven sometimes.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel real, but like this offense is clicking. It's just like, I wish we had this offense last year with that defense we had. But the football guys knew better than to do that. Seems like you get one or the other in this league, and I'll take the offense. Because it seems like recently offense wins Super Bowls. It seems like it's kind of changed from that defense win Super Bowl mentality, just because of how deep offensive bags have become, over the year. And I know I'm kind of going on a rant right now, but you talked about Tom Monken and his play calling earlier. I think the biggest difference I've seen from this year and last year is that last year he was just calling plays. This year, plays are built off of each other. He's not just going out there and calling anything. Okay,
there's flow.
There's a flow to it. It's run up the middle. Okay, now play action off that run to the middle. Or PA boot, fake the toss, read option, and Lamar takes it. And that's another thing I want to point up this week. Lamar was injured, knee, hip, whatever, going into this week. Lamar didn't really run the ball this week. Lamar stayed in the pocket, and they let Derrick Henry do the running. And we still put up 41 points. So it's like when your full menu, even when your full menu isn't available to you, you can't run those quarterback design run plays. You can still put up 41 points. So it's just like I keep thinking to the future and I keep thinking about the past. When we get to January, the main focus has to be the run game. It has to be the offense has to run through 8, 22, 43, and 34. That is what our team is built to do. Please do not abandon it come January. Run the ball, play Ravens football, and punch people in the mouth. It's January. Guys don't want to tackle. It's cold, man.
And everything else is going to come with it.
It is. Guys are going to have to, corners are going to have to look, peek in the backfield, make sure it's not run. Safeties are going to have to come down. Linebackers are going to have to step down. Which then gives your 101s for your Zay Flowers, your Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Deontay Johnson, Nelson Aguilar. It's going to open everything up. So, Todd Monken, if you somehow, guys, name hear this, please don't abandon the run come January.
Yep. And we certainly didn't in this game.
We did not.
And that's how we put up 41 on the league's, top 3 defense?
I believe the best.
Yeah. Dice through them.
Absolutely.
Dice through them.
This is one of those games, I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect to go like this. I expected the Broncos to keep it a fight with the way they had been playing. But we absolutely shut that offense down. Bo Nix went 19 of 33, passing 223 yards. Had a receiving touchdown, but no passing touchdowns. Interception. Was sacked 4 times. What did you see from this Ravens defense that is like, okay, we may not be as good as we were last year, but this is enough to get it done?
I think one of the main differences in this game versus the last couple weeks is it's more than just Kyle. And I think there's 2 players that really pop for me, like, in this game. Obviously, Kyle was great. 10 total tackles, 1 TFL, 1 pass breakup, all over the football field. Most tackles on the team. But 2 other dudes, Trenton Simpson, Tavius Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Those dudes really pop for me in this game. Trenton finishes the game with 9 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 TFLs. And Tavius ends with 2 sacks, 1 TFL, 1 pass breakup. That dude, Tavius Robinson, he's come out of nowhere. For a defensive end room as young and talented as this one, he's the last dude I am expecting to be making a name for himself. But we've been looking for that other piece aside from Dafe. Obviously, Kyle has played great. I don't want to knock what Kyle Van Noy has done this season and last season, but he's not the long-term solution. And so we've been looking for that young potential, that young piece with potential. And a lot of people have thought it's Ojabo. But maybe it's Tavius Robinson, because the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been playing more, they've been putting him out there more, and he's been making it worth it for them to put him out there. He's making plays all over the field.
Yeah, 100%. He's been doing the most with his opportunities, with his limited reps.
Yeah.
And I love that he's a bigger DN. He's one of those guys that, like, you could damn near put him at 3-tech because he's 6'6", like 260. He can hold his own. He's strong. He's explosive. He's fast. He's really stepped into the scene. And like you said, it wasn't just Kyle, finally. I think a lot of guys stepped up and had very good games. The Ravens' defense was very good on 4th down. Kept them from converting on it was probably more, but I remember specifically a 4th and 1 and a 4th and 4. And just making life hard for Bo Nix. I do still think that we have a problem in allowing big plays. I think that's something that'll obviously come with the season, communication, understanding the defense. But like it's week 9 or it was week 9. It's time to start getting that stuff figured out. In my personal opinion. But like I'm not upset because regardless of what the box score says, yardage, all of that stuff, we only allowed 10 points. So obviously it's a rookie quarterback. We know what we do to those guys. But if this defense can continue to improve, and just continue to play like how they played last week, man, the sky's the limit for this team, especially with 8, 22, and 4 playing how they are offensively. If somebody on this defense can really step up, take control of the reins, and be that voice that the defense needs right now, man. Sky's the limit for this team. I don't think we'll get first round bye. I don't really see the Chiefs losing too many games. They may not lose another game, to be honest. But I'm cool with that. We're Baltimore. I'm cool with being an underdog. I'm cool with having to go to Kansas City and play them in the Arrowhead. That doesn't fear me. I don't know why the rest of the league is so afraid of that. So afraid of Arrowhead and Kansas City. Granted, we're 1-5 against the Chiefs, but I don't know. I just don't fear them. I think they're very beatable. Excuse me. Like last night, watching Todd Bowles not go for 2 against the Chiefs, with 20 seconds on the clock. Like that was just a scary move to me. And when we played them week 1, as soon as Isaiah Likely scored that touchdown, John Harbaugh held up 2 because we were going for 2. There's no going to overtime with Mahomes. When you have the Chiefs against the ropes, you have to knock them out. You have to swing. And obviously, we all feel our way about Harbaugh, but I think that's one thing that Harbaugh is very confident in this offense with Lamar Jackson, is going for 2, going for the knockout, going for the kill when you have a team against the ropes. So if we see them in January, man, we got them against the ropes. I like us. Us a lot.
And we talked about it earlier, like, it's not like we may have one of the worst statistical defenses in the league, but this is not like the Cardinals or the Bengals or some of these other horrible defenses where it's like just no name, like the Panthers, where it's just like, sure, they have J.C. Horn and Derek Brown, or the Bengals have Trey Hendrickson and I don't know, Logan Wilson. The Cardinals don't have anyone worth anything, but like there's talent. We've seen this talent on this defense before play at a number 1 defensive level last year. So it's about making that transition, tightening things up, and letting these players play like the talented pieces that they are. We have a top 10 defensive tackle. We have a top 2 inside linebacker. We have the best strong safety. We have a top 10 corner. We have a first-round pick at corner. We have a first-round pick at edge rusher. Like, this is not a bunch of no-name XFL defensive players with a great offense. This is a talented defense, and they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I have confidence in that.
I agree with that, man. Like you said, this isn't a bunch of bums out there.
Yeah.
This is a highly invested in defense, draft capital, and just money-wise in general. Like, there are a lot of guys out there that can play, have shown they can play throughout their career, whether it was in Baltimore or before Baltimore. And we just gotta get through the growing pains. Even with Mike McDonald, like, there were some growing pains. That first year wasn't great. But eventually, as guys understood the scheme, understood where it was supposed to be, where he wanted them to be, it showed that they can do it. And like, all right, we lost some pieces, but like, it's not like we lost the entire 11 of our defense. We lost Jadavion, we lost PQ, and we lost what's his name, safety. That's what the Bengals now.
Gino,
yeah, like we lost Jesus Christ or something. Like,
yeah,
we lost 3 replaceable guys. Kyle Van Noy showed, obviously, early in the season some glimpse that, he was a replacement for Jadavion. Tavius is looking to step into that role now. Trent Simpson is outplaying Patrick Queen right now. And Geno Stone has been a reliability. I said that right? Reliability.
Nope.
Help me out
A
here.
liability.
Yeah, there it is. he's been a liability for the Bengals so far this season. Speaking of the Bengals, I feel like we should move into this
Good
Thursday
transition.
night game. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the Bengals, who are looking hot right now. Will not lie. Thursday night football on Prime Video. 6-3 Baltimore Ravens. The 4-5 Cincinnati Bengals coming to Baltimore to play us. Purple Rain uniforms for that game.
That's exciting.
Cannot wait. I don't know the last time we've seen those gold uniforms. The purple with the gold
rush?
lettering. Yeah, I don't know the last time we've seen the color rush.
I love those uniforms, won't lie.
I feel like the last time we saw them was, I might be wrong, 2019 against the Rams.
We had to have seen them since then.
I generally feel like that was the last time I saw him. When he threw that Jackson 5. I can't remember any time after that I was wearing those color rush jerseys.
Either way, they're so sweet.
I love those jerseys. So excited to see that helmet. But Joe Burrow is playing like Joe Burrow. He has looked great so far this year. He just threw 5 touchdowns and 1 interception last week. So far in the year, he's right up there with Lamar in terms of MVP talks. Best quarterbacks in the league. 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, over 2,200 yards. And Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. 55 receptions, 717 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Jeez. What are your initial thoughts going into this game on Thursday?
I mean, we already saw what a shootout looks like with them. So I don't know. Like, I'm pretty confident in this team. I don't really know. I would expect it to be some sort of shootout again. We already had our vintage beat ourselves games. I feel like knocked them out of the way with the Browns and the Raiders. So I don't know. I feel pretty confident in this game. I know what Joe Burrow is capable of. I know what Jamar is capable of. But, I mean, we already went toe-to-toe with them and came out on top. So I like our odds again. I think our offense is better, and I think our defense is better. So
yeah, I agree with that.
We can only lose if we beat ourselves, in my opinion.
And that's been a big emphasis for Ravens this year, is beating themselves. Bill Belichick has said that multiple times, that the only team that can beat the Ravens is the Ravens. I saw a conspiracy theory earlier today that was saying, he keeps saying this every week, that the only team that can beat the Ravens is the Ravens, and people were saying he's trying to emphasize that so that if the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl, people understand that it's John Harbaugh's fault and that he can come coach Lamar Jackson. That's what the streets are saying. That's not me. I'm not breaking any news on you guys, but Bill Belichick to the Ravens next year. Keep an eye out for
John's
it.
not going anywhere.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. As long as the Ravens keep winning regular season games, John will go nowhere. But the Ravens are 6-point favorites this game. I think that's a pretty good line. I can see us beating them by about a touchdown or 2 field goals. I love that we get to see this historic quarterback matchup twice a year. Now, obviously, we haven't seen it every year because Burrow has had some injury issues, and so has Lamar. But the fact that we get to see these two great quarterbacks play each other twice a year is just a blessing. Like, the last time they played each other just absolutely was fireworks. And I'm expecting the same thing come this Thursday night. I'm expecting Derrick Henry to have another big game. And I'm really hoping that Zay can have another big game to solidify that, hey, I am this wide receiver one. Because even last week, me and you talked, I was kind of like, I need to see him do a little bit more after that one reception, 11-yard day against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then he absolutely came out there and shut me up this week. I'm hoping he comes out here and shuts me up again and shows the world that I am a true X wide receiver. I am a true number one. because he shows flashes of that Antonio Brown type of wide receiver. And Antonio Brown terrorized our franchise for years. And I would just love to be able to give that back to Pittsburgh with Zay Flowers. But, like, I'm not expecting this to be a low-scoring game. Like, I don't want it to be a shootout again, but, like, I think that's the most likely option. It's either two ways this goes: is a shootout or the defense comes out there and shocks the world. The Ravens' offense is going to put up points. That's a given. So it's really up to what the defense comes out there and does. I think our lowest scoring total of the season was 20, and that was week 1.
Wow.
But this offense...
And that was before we unlocked Derrick Henry.
Yeah, this offense since Dallas, 28, 35, 41, 30, 41, 29, 41.
It's absurd.
This offense is great. They're clicking on all cylinders. And I don't think the Bengals have the defense. We know the Bengals don't have the defense to stop this. The Bengals' defense is statistically one of the worst in the league, which is why their record is 4-5, despite Joe Burrow playing so well. But they are starting to step in a stride. They are starting to understand what type of team they can be after us. After they lost us 41-38 in overtime, they beat the Giants 17-7, beat the Browns 21-14, beat the Eagles 37-17, and then beat the Raiders 41.
No, they lost.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, I read that wrong. Lost to the Eagles 37-17, and then beat the Raiders 41-24.
That doesn't move me at all.
It doesn't. It's obviously not a tough stretch of teams, but their offense has been clicking. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I don't think that's fair, dude. I don't think two college players should be able to play together in the NFL. Like they gotta make a rule, cut that out, because the things that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase do together are just absolutely ridiculous, man. It just doesn't make sense. Like. They just trust each other so much in any situation. I damn near sound like a Bengals fan right now, the way I'm going on about these two. But, yo, there's something different. Them LSU boys, I don't know what's in the water down there. Just because they're eating alligators or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But, like, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, the fact that they were on the same team at one point is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling. Like, these are clearly two of the top receivers in the league. And we're going to have our work cut out for us on Thursday. But Marlon is Marlon is healthy. Just added Trey White. So I'm hoping it's a group effort on him. I don't even care if we got to double team him. Because T. Higgins might be out. He's questionable right now. But
that'd be huge.
Whatever it would be. Whatever the game plan is find one and stop him. Double cover him. I don't care if you got to give him the Megatron treatment. Put two corners out there on him. But one cannot beat us. I'm fine with anybody else on that team beating us. It can't be Jamar.
No doubt. Score predictions and let's get out of here.
Ooh, score prediction. I'm going to go 31-20 Baltimore.
I'll go 38-28.
Similar margins.
Baltimore.
Similar margins. So we both obviously think the Ravens will get the dub, and it won't be as close as the game as last time. We will drop a parlay for this game before Thursday night. Out to y'all, help y'all make some money, get out of poverty. 4 legs to the moon. We just help the people. We're Robin Hood, you know.
Yeah.
We give back. But if you don't have any other thoughts, man,
let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Lamar for MVP. We will see y'all in February in New Orleans.
Let's go, Flock.